Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, you remember last week, Casey, Will, Patrick, the boys from The Good, The Dad, and The Ugly were on?
That's right, and I couldn't get enough of them.
Everyone loves them. Well, Chemda was on their show.
I'm telling you, I couldn't get enough. Went all the way to Brooklyn to go talk to them some more.
When they do a podcast, they have a woman on, right, as the fourth person.
Yes.
Takes 3 men to talk to 1 woman. This week, the boys are joined by legendary podcaster Chemda. They talk smelly cars, codependency, cheating, marriage, and more. They write, it's a humdinger and a downright doozy.
Aren't they the sweetest?
Yeah.
I don't know. They were so much fun. Please check out The Good, The Dad, and The Ugly. Check out my episode. Drive those numbers up.
I was opening up my latest copy today of Forbes. You know how I do.
Oh, of course. Sure.
Keep abreast with what's going on. And who happens to be listed? Andrea Allen.
Oh!
After it was released, her album, Gonzo, made it to the top of the iTunes comedy charts and into the Billboard charts top 10 in comedy. Allen is also the co-host of the popular podcast, The Hot Mess Comedy Hour, which has been featured in Elite Daily as well as the New York Comedy Festival. Allen has worked closely with the popular Keith and the Girl podcast as a producer.
Bless you.
Allen says, comedy's always been a major part of my life. My older brother introduced me to Keith and the Girl. He was always sneaking comedy to me when I was a kid. He bought me the Chappelle Show DVD when I was way too young to see that. I hope my parents don't see this article.
It's such a funny way to rebel, all of us. We're like, we snuck comedy.
Right. I started listening to Keith and the Girl when I was 15.
Naughty.
So I was hearing New York comedians talk about their lives, and I thought it was so fascinating. Allen moved from Canada to New York, not to pursue comedy, but to go to school for fashion. By the way, you can hear all about that in my opening line.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Parsons gave her a scholarship, I'm skipping through, and Allen came to New York. Allen had met friends online through Keith and the Girl fan pages and had always loved the energy of New York. Emily Lubin joined her for the podcast The Hot Mess Comedy Hour, where they talk with comedians about what makes them messy.
Messy.
But in the brain, they should be clear. Lubin and Allen met as...
Yeah, they go to their apartment and clean for them.
Right. Lubin and Allen met as interns at Keith and the Girl after Allen injected herself into the making of her favorite podcast.
You're in my blood, Allen.
Right. So congratulations on Forbes.
Yeah, and make sure you go and read the whole article and click whatever they ask you to click so that they know that Allen is a force to be reckoned with.
That's right. That's our pal Allen.
It is weird to like call you Allen.
Right.
Because it's an actual name.
Well, good job, Allen. Today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, featured on SiriusXM Radio's Laugh USA, featured on Hulu, MSNBC, ESPN's World Series of Poker, Clayton Fletcher. How you doing, Clayton?
Hey, great to meet you guys. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to see you. I feel weird when I find myself locked into one of these poker shows on TV. I'm like 10 minutes in, I'm like, whoa, I didn't change the channel.
Yeah, why am I watching this?
I'm not getting a percent. Who gives a shit? I see everyone's cards.
Yeah, and I'm so smart when I see everyone's cards.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Idiot.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, don't go for it.
If you can bet, you can up the fucking stakes.
You are a pro. You're a professional.
Yeah, so I make half my income from poker and the
Yeah.
other half from comedy. And
the third half you lose in poker.
and then some days I have to do more comedy to make up for the poker.
The most you made in a poker tournament, this is the World Series of Poker, was last year. You put in 25,000, you made 300,000.
Yeah, so that wasn't in one tournament, but that was in last year's World Series of Poker.
Okay.
Which is just what it sounds like. It's a series. Like we all know the main event because that's the one that's on ESPN.
Right.
But a lot of people don't realize there are actually about 80 other poker tournaments that are part of the World Series of Poker. So it's kind of like the Olympics.
Or the World Cup. It turns
the
out
World
they
Cup,
did other
yeah.
stuff too.
Yeah, they did other stuff too. Right.
So when you say tournaments, it's a table of like 9 people that you have to beat out in order to move to the next.
No, on the contrary, it's
Okay.
more like I have to beat 8,000 people, or in some cases 25,000 people.
What are you whining
yeah.
about?
Yeah, so yeah, I wish it were only just 9 people to
I
beat.
mean, at a table.
Yeah, so what happens is throughout the tournament, as tables get shorter, because when you lose your chips, you're done. It's like you're voted off the island, Survivor style. And then we need to make sure there are 9 players at every table. So the only way to do that is to start collapsing the tables. So you might start the tournament with like 800 tables. And then by the end of the tournament, there's just one final table. And that's usually what you see on television.
And that's exhausting because I've played at Keith's place for 3 hours, and if poker could just be 2 hours, I would be a millionaire. But on the third hour, I'm like, I have like mediocre cards, but I want to play.
Yeah, learning that patience and just being able to kind of, just build up the stamina to sit there and sometimes fold and just wait patiently for hours and hours is actually a huge part of the game, and one that many players never really get the hang of.
And tell me if you find this to be helpful, because this is my number one secret weapon. Get high. Because once you're stoned, you're like, oh, I'm stoned. So I'm not like waiting for something. I'm just like, I don't have to play. I'm stoned.
I play a side game of chess. And then I'm never bored.
Yeah.
Take your time. I won't play this hand. It's not a big deal. I'm doing a rook move.
Right. Now, you might be kidding, but there are players that'll be playing in a live tournament, but they're also on their phone playing in an online tournament. At the same time, which I tried once, and I just got confused. I was like, wait, which hand am I playing? The one that's on my phone or the one that's actually in front of me?
Now, isn't that a move to cheat, though? I'll just tell them what cards I have and what's on the table, and is there an app for that?
Yeah, I mean, there could be an app for that, but it would be very hard to coordinate that with the other players. Yeah, especially because it's random. What seat you end up sitting at is random. So, I mean, you'd have to be at the same table with somebody else that was willing to cheat with you. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but
do you ever do that or think about doing it with fellow professionals, a Sopranos move where you guys, it's 8 of you or 4 of you.
Because you give me this mob vibe.
And, you bring in a millionaire sucker, and no matter who wins out of you guys, it'll be one of you guys, obviously, and you just split the money.
Wow. And Keith just laid out the plans. Why aren't you
I
doing
saw The Sopranos.
this?
The guy lost his entire tent shop. He lost his fishing pole, everything. Do you ever think of doing that?
Well, I am half Italian, but unfortunately,
Done.
it doesn't work that way. I mean, there's too much at risk as far as my reputation within the poker community. Like, I want to be able to get action, meaning I want to be able to find people to play with me. If people start getting the idea that I might be cheating, then it's just going to be really hard for me to find a game. And I could even be banned from the casinos, which is, like I said, it's where I make half my money. So it's just not worth the risk to me. And actually, to be perfectly honest, I usually don't need to cheat to win. Like, most of the time I can win without cheating.
Right.
Do you know sleight of hand, though? Do you know how to get the card to the bottom of the deck if you want?
No, I mean, I've seen
Ooh,
rounders.
I don't know. That face says yes.
I know a few card tricks, but when you're in the casino, unlike at Keith's house in the home game, they don't actually let me deal. So it would be hard to employ that, even if I had that skill.
What do we think about sunglasses and hoodies at a game?
I'm really glad you asked that, because I'm totally against it. Like, I hate when you turn on TV and all the players look like robots wearing like hooded sweatshirts and sunglasses. I don't even think you should be allowed to have a beard. That's how militant I am. Like, I think you should have to look me in the eye and tell me that you're lying or telling the truth, and I have to figure that out. And I feel like putting on all
Do you
this.
think their mouth says something like the tension in their mouth, but their beard, they grow their mustache just past their lips so that you can't tell?
I mean, there are so many facial expressions you can hide with a beard.
Are you really looking at people's facial expressions and telling?
Of course. I mean, that's a huge part of the game. I mean, you have to understand math and psychology.
Give me cards and let him decide.
Oh my God.
Can we test you on this?
Sure, why not? Yeah,
Okay.
get a deck of cards.
So Keith is handing out 2 cards to each of us, dealing it just like a regular poker game. And Keith and I are going to look at our cards. He's going to look at his cards. And you're going to be able to say, should we pretend like we're betting? Is that what helps you?
No, what would help me is if we actually do bet, because then you will care enough to actually give away something with your facial expressions.
Okay.
Like, if we're sitting here playing for nothing, you guys could be perfect actors. But if there's like $10,000 on the line, then you would certainly be a little bit more prone to making mistakes.
So, Keith, it's a 25-50 blind.
Quarters, right?
Yes.
Okay.
25 cents, 50 cents. What are you betting?
25 cents.
No, but it's 50, so you got to go for 50.
The minimum is going to be 50 here, Keith.
It's already, I can't fold for this experiment.
You ruined it.
All right, I have a jack and a 5. Did you know that?
I definitely did not know that you had a jack and a 5. But I can tell you, even from this quick thing we just did, Keith didn't really express any interest in actually betting money when I brought up the idea that we might actually put something on the line.
Hold on one second.
He just opened up an Oreo cookie and licked the inside.
All in.
Oh, yeah. But he didn't crumble it, so that tells you everything. I think if Keith really, like, if he would have dealt himself 2 aces, right? Then when I started saying, hey, why don't we put something on the line? I think Keith might have said, yeah, let's do that. But the fact that he didn't kind of let me know that he didn't really have much.
Okay, what'd you learn from
You
me?
are
That I have a
much-
boyfriend named Xerxes?
You are much harder to read.
Yes!
But I think you have a very suspicious landlord. That's what I got from you looking at your card.
He's good. He is good. She does have a suspicious landlord.
Yeah. Well, I've looked at my cards. What do you guys think I have?
You have a 2 is what you don't have. Should I say what you don't have or
What
you
are
do
you
have?
betting?
Oh, I would bet 150.
On a
1,000.
$25.50?
So okay, so $1.50.
$1. You tripled the
Yeah.
thingamahoo.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. I'm guessing ace 10.
Okay. That's a good guess. But
Okay.
as a matter of fact, I just have
Not suited.
I just have a 6 and a queen, which is a pretty crappy hand. But because I kind of got the feeling that Keith didn't have much and you didn't have much, I might as well bet and just win this pot before we even see the flop.
You know, I'm just gonna give you $5.
Yeah, fuck you. All right, should I tell you what I have, or do you want to guess?
Yeah, no, you can tell me. I don't think it's very good.
What is it?
I would say it's probably like 10 and a 7, something like that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, well,
Suited or not suited?
I would say not suited.
Okay, it's a 4 and 7 suited.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Yeah,
but you
so-
got one of them right.
yeah.
Does my guess count to be close enough to you where I'm better than Keith already at this game?
She turning this into a magic trick, right?
She's making it a competition, like usual, between herself and Keith.
Has there been there's gambling in Hemda's blood for sure. Is there in yours?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my grandfather used to bet on the horses. My mother was a professional poker player. We actually had a home game at my house, 7-card stud upstairs, where my father, who was a jazz musician, was downstairs playing jazz music. So we had a lot of colorful characters coming in and out of my house growing up. No wonder I became a comedian. It's just, nobody
You seem
could
like
make
such
this
a
up.
straight person.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, but
Yeah.
until you get to know me, you realize maybe not so.
Was your mom nervous? Like, hey, gambling could go wrong. Was she nervous you'd get into it?
Yeah, I don't think that she was too nervous about that because
Since they were having home games that were clearly high stakes.
Yeah, I mean, we had pretty high stakes games.
What are
and
high stakes at home?
So the buy-in might be like $1,000, $1,500.
That's big. Do you have
Yeah.
security there for that?
No, we just had cameras on the doors and locks and cameras
Of your house?
Yeah, mhm.
Was there one room where the cameras were for these games?
Yeah, we had cameras on the front door to make sure that no one was coming in.
This
And-
is in
and
the
we had a
70s,
monitor.
right?
Yeah, it was 80s. Yeah.
The 80s
Yeah.
where if you had a camera, it was amazing. If you had a
Yeah.
video, I remember my brother was on TV in the 80s, like this kindergarten show that he got on, and we had to like go to the neighbors and they had to tape it for us.
Oh,
and then
sure.
yeah. So you having a whole security system.
Yeah, we had a pretty advanced security system for the time, but there was a lot at stake.
Did a brawl ever happen? Did something ever go wrong?
No, nothing really ever went wrong because generally the players knew each other. It was a lot of the same people every time. It's not like we were running a casino in our house with the general public coming. I mean, of course, sometimes people would say, can my friend Mike come or whatever. So we would have like relative strangers or relative unknowns, but they were always vouched for by the regular players.
Yeah, but you had to be worried, or your parents had to be worried about the law.
Yeah, that was always an issue, but fortunately, it never became a problem. In Maryland, I think that's where I grew up, Maryland, and I think the rule there is that
Just shut the fuck up.
as long as nobody talks, the cops don't care. No, I think it's just as long as the person that's running the game is not making a profit from running the game. In other words, like at the casino, like they take a rake. So out of every buy-in, they take a 10%.
But they were. They
for
were.
them.
People were tipping, right?
Well, tipping is different, right? So
No.
it's like if you're, yeah.
I mean, unless you can go back in time, then sure.
Yeah, tipping is different because you're taking care of the dealer. Now, the dealer is somebody that's kind of, impartial. We had a professional dealer at the house, and if that person is getting tips, that's one thing. But I mean, just the house itself wasn't taking a percentage.
So how
of
were
the
you
pot.
making money? It was an entrance fee?
No, it was just you play poker, and if you win, you made money.
Oh, so it was just housed at so she just took the risk at your place.
Yeah, we just hosted the game.
Was your dad downstairs like busking? Like what was that?
Yeah, Dad was downstairs just jamming out with his friends, and upstairs was poker, and downstairs was pot and whatever else. You
Yeah?
might find with the jazz world. So, Yeah, it was a pretty colorful childhood.
Did you
could
know
say.
that when you were a kid? Were you like, I'm in a pretty cool house?
Well, no, actually, I just thought that it was incense down there. And I thought, like, my father really, really likes incense. It wasn't until I was a teenager when my older brother, explained to me why it always smelled like incense.
When did they tell you that they were degenerates?
Well, we used to play after dinner. My mother would deal the cards. I have two brothers. And she would deal out the cards, We were all within a year of each other. So say we're like 8, 9, and 10 years old.
Proper age for poker.
Yeah, and so she would teach us, and then she would never let us win. I mean, sometimes we would win just because of luck, but usually we lost, and we actually risked either our allowance or a percentage of our allowance. And this is the way we learned that.
Oh, she would tell you this was a math lesson.
Yeah, and then she would tell us the reason why you lost is because when I bet $5 on 4th Street, you should have folded your hand, but you were impatient and you tried to stay in, and that's why I now have your money.
So many lessons.
Yeah.
Allowance.
Yeah, so like I was on a budget, and
She'd be like, son, I know you're 8, but paint the house will give you $1,000 because I'm just going to take it back on Thursday.
I'm going to win it all back anyway. What's
Yeah.
the difference? Yeah.
Did any of you not want to put up your allowance, or were you all into it?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't force us to play. We didn't
Yeah,
have
sure.
to play.
We
Yeah.
didn't get forced to go to synagogue
Yeah.
either. Yeah, we all wanted to. It
The
was
doors don't lock from the outside,
Right.
son.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my older brother was really interested in music. I actually ended up studying music in college, but my older brother was very, very interested in music. He was a drummer. So a lot of times when the poker game would start, he'd be like, I'm going to go downstairs and jam with daddy. So no one could argue with that. So then sometimes it would just be the three of us, my mom and my other brother and myself playing. And then sometimes my dad would join in, and he had never had any patience at all. So he would be the worst player every time.
Did your parents get into a fight over that?
No, not at all.
Too many jazz cigarettes?
Yeah, I mean, they just kept it mellow.
Have you ever tried playing high?
No,
Okay.
I never have.
Oh, big mistake.
But I can tell you, you might be onto something because at the
Me,
World
he's
Series
pointing
of
at me.
Poker, yeah, Kemda might be onto something because at the World Series of Poker, every 2 hours you get a 20-minute break, and many of the players I discovered go outside, even in the 106-degree heat, because there's kind of a private outdoor area where they could smoke. And of course, in Las Vegas, it's legal. You can just have recreational marijuana, whatever. And I saw there's this hill where they would all sit and smoke, and then they come back to the table just kind of like really calm and relaxed and chill.
Because you're playing actually 12 hours a day, right?
Yeah, it's a
I don't
long
know,
day.
Why is that legal? Oh, because you're in a gambling facility, Chemda, and nobody gives a shit about your body. But it is weird because this is, it's taxed. It's taxed, this
Of
money.
course.
It's a real business. You're not like in some underground or your mom's house. So it's weird that they would allow a 12-hour game because
Yeah.
you're working.
Yeah, it's working, but
Well,
it's
it's not.
also
You're not driving a bus of kids, though. Who cares if it's how long it is?
Well, because it
The
involves
government gets their cut. Who cares?
it involves so much money that you would think they would put some restrictions on how long. Why am I talking like this about gambling?
Yeah, it's just all these norms don't apply to gambling. I mean, there's no union for like poker players where we can say, yeah, we want equal pay for equal work and 10-hour days. I mean, at one point this year, the World Series of Poker main event, we had 8,600 some players. Like
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You got to beat over 8,000 people.
Yeah. And last year I almost did it. Last year I got 28th in the main event, and I won $250,000. But this year, last year if I had gotten first place, I would have won almost $9 million for first place. But this year, first place was $10 million. So players are willing to stay for an extra 12 hours to get another, $10 million in their pocket.
It's just-
Obviously.
it seems like your brain is fried. You don't get a day off, right? It's just back-to-back 12-hour days.
Yeah, so the way it's structured, there are 3-day ones. So because they can't fit all the players, all 8,600 players in the same room, so they have to kind of split day 1 into 3 days. Then they have to split day 2 into 2 days, and then from day 3 on until the end, which is day 10, okay, it's all one day after another with no break.
Now, are you cheating and using math in your head?
Is that cheating?
No, but they did say, and I'm getting all of this from the movie Rounders, but they do say there's no coincidence why those people are in the final seat all the time. You see the same people, and it is because they're geniuses, because they're doing all this crazy math in their head. Am I getting that right, or have I watched Rounders too many times?
No, you can't watch Rounders too many times.
Thank you.
The writer of Rounders, Brian Koppelman, is actually a friend of mine that I met through stand-up. There
Tell
was a
him I
time,
love his movie.
I certainly will. And did you also watch Billions? Because he wrote that too. Billions on Showtime.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Who's Missing Billions?
Yeah,
Shout out to Dan Soder.
Yeah, that's right. Starring Dan Soder. And I believe that originally Brian and Dan met at Stand Up New York.
Well, now I gotta watch Billions.
All those years ago when Brian was, I don't know if he was maybe going to write a movie about stand-up comedy, which never happened.
Wait, but what about my question about the final seat? Is that true? Are they doing math? Are they geniuses?
So at the time when that movie was written, the number of players in the World Series of Poker was nowhere near what it is today. Still, you do see a lot of familiar faces towards the end, but there's just a lot of luck. On any given Sunday, anybody
my
can
brother
win.
Michael, who is a big poker player, or at least was, says it's not luck.
Yeah.
Should I fight with him?
Well, you should, because in the short run, there's luck. Like if the three of us played right now,
I'd beat your ass.
you might. Okay,
right.
You could, and Keith could beat us both
Nah.
because he might get lucky. You know, but if either of you beat me, it would be because you got lucky once. If we could play every day for a year, I promise you, in the long run, my skill edge would get your money. So
Ooh, I promise you.
yeah, because that's just how it works. But if you want
do it for 2 years, I'm fucking your spouses. 3 years, I live here now. 4 years,
it's the Clayton and the Girl podcast.
have you lost friends over a poker thing? I remember I was playing with my friends, and the games could end up, and I know this is laughable, but it could end up a hand is several $100s, and we were waiters. And at the end of the night, you get some hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Has that happened with you and friends?
Yeah. So the rule is if you're going to have a home game, you don't want to lose your friends over it. You want to make sure the stakes are comfortable for everybody. Like there's a famous comedian's home game downtown that a lot of us play in, and most of the comedians that are in that game are infinitely more successful in comedy than I am. They have a lot more money than I do. The buy-in for that game is $60.
Right.
And that's
not bad.
That's what they play for. So no one's going to get hurt. No one's going to cry about it. It's supposed to be fun. I think a home game, you want to keep it, it's got to be interesting. Like you don't want to play for like M&Ms or something. It's got to be something on the line. But you shouldn't be losing your friends in a home game. The rule should be everyone needs to be on board with the stakes. And if not, we should lower the stakes or not invite the person who's too cheap to play.
Was it always the same person, Keith, who got butthurt?
It's that waiter.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
That one who told on everybody when a glass broke.
Probably,
Yeah.
but I've had a bad night before, and it's like this ruined my night. You're not, and you're kind of mad, or maybe you didn't, however they played, you have to call your hand, and I called my hand wrong, but I won, so you're upset about that.
Well, with complicated home game rules, which would never happen in a casino because, when you turn your cards up, you don't even have to know what you have.
Okay.
You turn it over, and the dealer will tell you who's going to win the pot.
That's my
So there's
favorite
no
part.
arguing.
But people get so mad at that. And I'm going to Atlantic City in a couple of weeks, so this is perfect timing. I'm going to get all...
Right, a primer.
Yeah, right? So, what was I saying? I just got excited about going to Atlantic City. I don't know if I have a problem or not, but it kind of feels like it sometimes.
You do.
Thank you.
You were talking about showing your cards and not having to think too much.
Oh, yeah. So the dealer even tells you, she can tell you everything that's going on. Like she can look at you like it's been your turn for a minute. I'm like, okay, I don't have to be here. And then I can actually ask her, how much do I have to bet, or what happened? What did he do? Who raised? Who did what? And
What twitches did you see around the
Right.
table?
Why don't you just let the dealer play your hand for
Yeah,
you?
here's $50. Do something.
Can you also tell as we're talking the kind of nuances in our face or something? Can you read people? Does it help you meet people and socialize?
Yeah, I mean, I think
The
this-
I just
doctor
start-
just said Keith has high cholesterol.
You know what? As I did that, I started looking in his eyes like, I better act like a good social person as
Yeah.
I'm asking this question.
Yeah, you're trying to hide all of your anxieties.
Yes,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like you're a mind reader, but you can sort of pick up on little things.
Can you tell if your wife is lying?
Yeah, like if you say something to somebody and they don't like what you said, like many people might miss little subtle clues, like body language or things like that. And it's really important, especially as a comedian, to be able to tap into this skill. Like if I'm doing a joke and the audience isn't on board, like suppose I'm doing a joke about, like I have some jokes that might offend certain audiences, like about
Women.
Let's say something like, I do have a joke about free range chicken, right? And it's the premise of the joke is that I don't think it's fair that these free range chicken think that they're on vacation. and they don't even know they're about to be murdered, right? So it's not fair to them.
If anything, it's worse.
Right,
They're having
it's
the
worse.
great life.
They think they're living large,
Yeah.
you know. They're out there eating grass, everything's great. So sometimes I start doing this joke, and I can sense that the audience,
everyone's a vegan.
they're all vegan and they love animals too much to really just like suspend disbelief and enjoy the joke. And at that point, I either need to address the fact that they're not on board with the premise of the joke, or even in extreme cases, just completely abandon that joke. You know, because my philosophy of doing comedy is I want to hear everybody laugh.
But dating you might be like either wonderful or a nightmare, because it's like if you understand the subtleties of my, you know, hey, you want to go for another drink, and I do that micro expression but say yes anyway, but you know I mean no.
Yeah, no, that can end up being a really good thing for you as the person on the date, because I'm not going to make you do something. You were just being polite saying yes, but if I know the answer is really no.
But then the woman starts fighting, like, you don't know me. It's like, I do know, and you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Have you seen, professional or otherwise, a dealer really fuck something up and
Oh, my God.
mess up a lot of money?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen.
What do they do? They kill themselves? What do they do?
They give back all the tips.
Right.
Well, what they have to do is then they have to call over the what they call the floor person, the supervisor.
Everyone gets so mad.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Now, here we go. Now, okay, so she pushed the pot to the wrong player. She gave this guy the pot because he had three of a kind, not noticing that she had a straight flush. So now we have to, like, so the floor supervisor will help them, like, figure it all out. It can take minutes. And minutes at the table is a problem because the other tables are still continuing to play. So now our table is paused while they figure out why this stupid dealer made this stupid mistake.
Do they take the dealer out like a...
No, I mean, it would have to be a pretty egregious error. Okay. Like, they must suspect the dealer was cheating or something in order to take them out. They'll just say, you know, we're sorry, the dealer made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. We're going to try to correct this and then move on. But yeah, players don't have a lot of patience for that. And I can understand why, because there's a lot of money on the line. But I kind of feel bad for these dealers because they have a hard job and they don't often get a lot of training.
Are you ever with, let's say, your wife, you're in Jersey, she's like, let's go somewhere nice to eat. And you go, all right, let's just swing by Atlantic City. I'll pick up $400 from a Rube and we'll get something nice. Is it easy to just pop in and out and take money from somebody from Kansas?
Well,
Why did you just say Kansas? You know it's Kentucky.
yeah. Well, it could be Kansas or Kentucky, honestly. But the truth is, because
Yes, throw everybody under the bus.
get them all, get them all. It's the one broad stroke to get them all. No, I believe that because luck is such a factor, I cannot really count on winning on any given day. Like, it's not as easy as just like, oh, let me just pop into the casino, grab a quick 400, and then we'll go out to a nice lobster dinner. Because, you know, like I said before.
Does that make you not an addict, though? Do you feel addicted, or do you feel under control because you can do that?
Yeah, I feel very much under control because I can stop when I need to stop.
Do you have a budget, a gambling budget for the year?
Absolutely.
You do.
Yeah.
And you've never gone over that.
No, because in the time that it takes for me to play, you know, so many hours over a month or 2 months or a year, I'm going to win. So because the chart is going up, you know, it's kind of like the stock market. Like, some days it goes down, even some weeks it goes down, but in the long run it goes up. That's kind of what the chart of a professional poker player looks like. Like, you might have a downswing, you might even have a recession, but over the long run, whatever that means, it always goes up.
Do you worry about, when I say about gambling being in the genes, do you worry about having a child of age or a grandchild carrying this on and it could go south somewhere along the line? Is that ever a concern?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for a child, it's really important that they be exposed to the dangers of gambling early, you know, as I was. Like, we probably started playing that kitchen table poker when I was about 7. And so I learned that if you gamble, it's called gambling for a reason. You may lose your money. And so you have to be willing to do that. And if you don't like doing that, then you shouldn't be gambling.
But I don't think that's how addiction works, because the same could be said about alcohol. And so if you learn the dangers of alcohol by, let's say, watching your father drink too much, your mother's always angry, and then when you first take that drink, it just kicks something in. I don't think that you have control over what genes you have or what addiction you pick up. So I think that you can have a controlled environment at home, but, you know, you might have that itch.
I think the most I ever won, by the way, 41 million on the free app. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I got called a donkey a couple times, but I guess that means you're a millionaire because
Donkenair.
They give these donkeys to me, and I type back, does that mean I'm winning?
Yeah.
And it feels so good to win after they send you this donkey icon.
I'm on the same app, and sometimes I come into the room, and the guy will give me a flower, and I'm like, you just paid money for that. Suck my dick.
I got to find this app. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I think it's the World Series of Poker app.
Oh, okay.
And so we're on the same level. That's
Yes,
why a
we
lot of
are.
what you're saying is making sense.
Of course it is.
But it is, you see, do you ever play the free poker? Because, again, nobody has a stake in it, so they're just getting sloppy and lucky.
Yeah, everyone just goes all in with anything they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like when we've started dealing the cards here, and I said, if there's nothing really at risk, you guys are not going to give me anything with your body language.
Yeah, but we need to
Right.
do this again at the end of the show to see if you learned anything about our mannerisms.
Okay.
Can we
yeah.
try it again?
Yeah, because you
Okay.
want to establish kind of a base. Like
Yeah.
she normally looks like this. When she's not nervous, she's very calm. You notice like what muscles in her face are flexed and which ones aren't. Like whether the breathing is in her chest. and
Ew,
her
you're
stomach.
looking at all
yeah,
that?
I notice all these things. And it's
Ugh.
just like second nature at this point. Like
Ooh.
I can't even talk to somebody without noticing those things.
What
you
do
must want to throw up all the time. People are gross.
People are gross.
Like, what are you looking at? No, I'm a poker player,
Yeah,
honey.
just staring at your neck. See what your pulse rate is. Is that creepy? Sorry.
Does anyone not have a tell? You're just like, I really can't read this guy. Or,
Yeah, I mean the best players are very hard to read. Like I have tells.
What's your tell?
So one thing is if I
Why are you
really-
telling me?
No, I don't mind telling you because I'll tell you why I don't mind telling
Okay.
you. So if you're playing Texas Hold'em or Omaha, when the flop comes, it's 3 cards all at once. And if I really like those 3 cards or one of them, suppose I have like pocket 8s and I see an 8, I naturally look away from the flop. Like it's almost like looking into the sun, like, oh my God, I got
Right.
my third 8, which is really good news for me. So because I know that I do that when I really like the flop, sometimes on purpose, I will do the same thing when I don't like the flop. And that way, if you are studying me that carefully to notice that I did that the time I made 3 8s, it's not going to really help you because I also did it when I had 8s and it was ace, king, queen.
Oh, that's why people gaslight, because if you keep lying about everything, nobody's going to be able to tell the truth.
Yeah, you're just mixing
Shout
it
out
all
to
up.
all our exes.
Well, when Kevin and I, when we play poker, usually one of us ends up in first place. And something that I like to do, and you tell me if this is stupid or not. The first couple games when everybody's going slow and the pot could be a quarter, we didn't even get to dollar bills yet, right? Everybody's just taking it slow. I'll bet big and have nothing. Everybody folds, and I show that I had nothing. And I'll do
Okay.
that like 3-4 times.
And by the way, keep in mind, and not just because of this, nobody likes to play with Keith, but that's just in the back of your head.
And now it's understood that Keith plays goofy. So later, when I do something like that, now we're betting in the dollar bills, and I'll take it more seriously, and they'll think I'm just an asshole.
Okay.
Clever? How clever is that?
It's pretty clever. And what we call that is advertising.
Yes.
So you're showing everybody, look, just because I bet big doesn't mean I have anything, with the hopes that later on when you do have something and you bet big again, they're going to remember. That
He
you
does do
showed
that
them.
really well.
Yeah.
Like, we're always like, fucking Keith. You don't want to be like right before Keith because you think that you're going to, oh, it's only 50 cents for this round until Keith puts in $2. Now we all have to think.
Yeah, but I would suggest that you're better off just getting caught naturally. Suppose you can get away with that 25 times before they ever catch on. Then you just won all that money that you didn't even have to advertise. Sooner or later, they're going to catch you. And when they do,
Yeah, we're going to kill you. Oh, I mean, what should we
no,
do?
when they do, just turn your cards over and say, well, you guys caught me. And now know that they all think you're always bluffing. So then next time you bet big, you have to have it.
Well, now I know that if I could
Yeah.
keep track of anything he just said.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes I'm going to look at the flop, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm going to yell from the other room all in. You don't know what I'm going to do.
There
I'm
was
insane.
a hand that I played on TV where this guy that I was, heads up in the pot with, this is in the World Series of Poker main event, $9 million on top. And this guy is staring at me. It's his turn. So I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and he won't look at the flop. So I just told him, I was like, are you ever going to look? Because
It's good.
your turn. And he wouldn't look. So he actually made me tell, I was like, do you want me to tell you? They showed this on TV. I was like, okay, well, it's an ace of hearts,
You said it.
an ace of, I told him what it was because.
Can't you just call time for those guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's another way you can handle it. But because I'm a comedian and I like dealing with hecklers, I kind of treated this guy like a heckler. Like he thought he was getting over on me. Like he's waiting for me to look at it. But it's his turn, so he has to look at it first. So instead, we're both looking at each other. And I read him the flop. Now, he had pocket tens. I had ace king. and it was ace, ace, 3
Ugh.
on the flop. So now I not only have to tell him what's on the flop, I have to convince him that I'm not ecstatic about the fact that I have 3 aces now.
You know what would be hard about that for me? I forget which one's the club and which one's the other one.
Well, you just match the other one with the other one.
That's what I'm just like, there's a black one, you're going to have to look.
No, just be like, there's an ace with a Valentine, an ace with a puppy paw.
I'm just so politically correct. She doesn't say spades.
No, just don't say that.
Right.
Just say it's a backhoe.
A what?
The what do you think about this idea? The poker app, the free one.
Yeah. The one where you're a donkey.
Right.
Right.
If
It's
you
called Zynga, right?
if you tip the dealer, that's a robot. It electrocutes you, your phone. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think that's a good
If
idea.
you're so insane,
Yeah, why are you
and
tipping?
legally we can't lock you up.
Right, but just a little electric shock just to kind of teach you.
Yeah,
You don't have to tip inanimate objects.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
are they? You think that they are tipping because somewhere in them they think that the robot
The
is-
robot says thanks, your name, and they're like, you're welcome, hot woman, because of course they drew a hot woman for the robot dealer.
Yeah, it is weird that it's always like this long hair.
Right. It's not like some schlub like we're changing out the dealer for a second. Please bear with us. Hot lady is taking a dump.
If you,
Yeah, but I think they think that by tipping, you're gonna skew the computer
Right.
to favor you.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people thought
people
that.
take this free app very seriously.
Yeah.
Can you actually win anything?
No.
No, not at all.
So you have $41 million worth of
Nothing.
worthless
Yeah,
shit.
you can't even change it for like Starbucks drink or
Nothing.
something.
Right.
So if people are tipping.
But you know what I enjoy doing? Somebody sends me a beer icon. And I go, I'm an alcoholic asshole. Then they send me a coffee icon. I go, at 10 p.m. I'm drinking coffee. And then we're all pals. But then,
Yeah.
or you have the people that can't take a joke. And they're like, just play. Be
Just
serious.
play.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Why are we even doing it?
Also, you're not the words are not coming up in the middle of the screen, stopping the game.
Right.
They're just
The
they come up.
timer goes as it goes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you can do it that fast because people try talking to me, and there have been some people like, "Hey, you're the girl of Keith and the Girl," and I'm like, "Wait, I got to bet," and I go to text, and then it's like waiting for me to bet, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, you're just gonna think of me as a dick from now on because I
Right.
don't know how to respond quickly."
Hey, speaking of apps, there's this Saturday Night Live skit this last season where completely fake, and this newscaster is telling some horrific story in another country. It's a war zone, and they don't have a correct link, so they have to go through their app. And oops, it messes up, and as the guy's talking about war, he's turning into a cat from a filter. He's
I remember
turning
the
into-
sketch, yeah.
Okay.
This has happened more than once in real life recently. I came across a story not too long ago. It happened in India or somewhere like this where the person was a cat telling a story. This just happened in Canada. A police officer, female police officer, is telling a story about a double murder, and the filter of the cat, I'm showing him to the picture, the filter of the cat comes on her face, whiskers, nose, ears, just like that promo for the Cats trailer you saw.
Oh my god.
A Canadian cop live stream a press conference about a double murder with a camera filter left on the cat's ears and whiskers. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police. You know what? If I saw this for the first time, I don't watch Canadian news, I'd be like, look how they handle this. They really are the nicest.
The kids could even tune in and they'll really know what's going on around the world.
Well, it lightens the mood. You know,
Right.
you're watching a murder story. Like, who wouldn't rather hear it from a cat?
And here's the news meow.
Memories.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police plan serious updates on the brutal killings of an American, China Dees, 24, and her Australian boyfriend, Lucas Fowler, 23. They were found shot dead on the side of a British Columbia highway last Monday.
Wow.
Facebook live feed ended up showing the pink ears, black nose, whiskers.
That sounds terrible, meow meow.
Yeah.
Now, for more on this story, we go to T.S. Eliot reporting live.
We made a big faux pas. We apologize.
Faux pas.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Force soon posted a new video giving updates of the major case from a different angle. So a totally different camera, so there'd be no mistakes.
oh my god.
Too late.
Yeah.
For no mistakes. Like, I think we already made a pretty big one.
They said, oh, it was the custom setting.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I don't mess with the settings. Never happened to me.
I haven't done the cat thing at all yet. I didn't. Turn
Well, you
on
never
that
know.
filter.
You might want to tell some sad story. You don't want to fuck up and you're a raccoon. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little suicidal today. Like, all right, I don't know what to do with that information. Can I tell you guys about something, please?
Please.
A new company, at least new in my life. Figs. Figs. And it's a company that sells scrubs. Scrubs like a doctor wears, like a nurse wears. But if you look at it, it's like cool and hip. At least these doctors are. They are fine. Anyway, I know models are models, but hello. So anyway, you see, I know in my life, I see people wearing these scrubs, of course, in hospitals, but they also wear them on the subway.
Yeah.
They wear them on their way to work. Now, I don't know how that's okay to do, but they do it. So you know what? Be presentable and have like cool scrubs. I'm tired of seeing scrubs. I'll tell you this, unless you're a pediatrician, I don't want to see scrubs with ducks on them.
Thank you.
You know? I need ducks working on my tumor. No. I really don't. You know, and by the way, I got a pair of these scrubs. I'm going to start wearing them on the subway. It's the new Harvard t-shirt.
Pick up chicks.
Yeah. It's something we can all agree on. Nurses, doctors, dentists, people who work in medicine and healthcare, they're pretty awesome. And all of us can think of a time when a medical professional helped us or a family member. Well, these amazing people dedicate their lives to caring and serving others. Shouldn't these amazing people wear scrubs that make them feel good? We think so. I certainly do.
It's like wearing pajamas, but everyone respects you on the train.
Yes, ridiculously soft, moisture, gets rid of moisture. 4-way stretch. My clothes 2-way stretch, tops. It's 4-way stretch. It's all the ways, up, down, left, right. I love it. Figs gift cards, so you can give the doctor. This is true. The doctors, the nurses, they take care of a loved one more if you give them a couple donuts or an apple. Give a gift card to a whole new wardrobe.
I remember someone who was dealing with me, and I was just like, I hate this person's scrubs. I gave them a figs.
Yeah. Yes, a scrub.
Yeah, a card.
So
fix yourself.
Just right.
I can't look at this.
But they're not going to take it bad. They take it nice.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't say fix yourself.
Right. So whether you're one of the awesome humans that work in healthcare or someone who wants to say thanks to these deserving folks, Figs, Figs, is going to make that easy by providing you with 15% off your first purchase by using code KATG. Get ready to love your scrubs. Head to Wear, W-E-H-R, W-E-A, fuck, how do you spell this? Head to, aren't any of these words? All right, listen, this has nothing to do with fruit. Okay. Head to Wear, W-E-A-R, you wear them, figs.com. WEARFIGS.com. Enter code KATG at checkout. All right? Okay. Thank you. Kenda, we got to go over Emmy nominations.
Oh, my favorite. This is for TV.
That is correct.
Yes!
Good job.
15 years of podcasting.
All right, ready? Now we're gonna see how many of these you even heard of. I'm gonna name 5 fake TV shows.
Okay.
You tell me if they're real TV shows or
What
not.
if they're all fake because we're in a simulation?
All right, here we go. Outstanding comedy series. Barry. Have you guys seen this?
Fake.
I think that one's real.
These are all going to be real.
Ah.
Yeah, that was just silliness.
Okay.
Kenda.
Is that Bill Hader?
Yeah.
Okay. Never seen it. Seen ads for it. Is that good?
That's good.
It's good, but it goes on a little bit. You're like, he's a murderer.
Oh, I thought you were asking, is that good? How much you know? Yeah, it's great.
He's a good guy, but happens to kill bad people. And
so it's Dexter.
Yeah, but he's supposed to he gets out of these just getting caught at the last minute in weird ways where eventually you're like, all right, I get it. Nothing can stop you. Barry, Fleabag.
Oh, so good.
You saw this.
I saw the whole thing.
Now, Hem just said she saw this, and I made some reference to the fox in the TV show. And Hem goes, there was a fox?
I don't recall the fox. I recall it at the end, but not throughout.
Okay.
I believe her that she watched it all, but I think she may have slept through some of it.
Yeah.
I really watched it.
The priest was scared of foxes in multiple TV shows. It's some analogy to his past, probably, because, right, he's not a priest in the way he's supposed to be a priest. At the very end, I think this was supposed to be deep, too. She walks a certain way. She's the fox. The fox walks a different way at the bus stop. A fox was a big thing, and you didn't notice there was a fox. Did you notice there was a suicide?
Yes.
Did you notice she had a coffee shop of some sort?
Yes.
Spoiler alert. I mean,
all right, but
I don't know how I missed it. Maybe I was very disinterested in that part. I don't like these metaphors.
In the Fox
I really don't.
part. I was disinterested in the Fox and the priest part. That she finally found love.
Did she? Let's not call that love.
Well, I was getting mad because there's nothing redeeming about this woman whatsoever. I assumed when they did a flashback that was sexual, she was raped, and then I'd feel bad for her. But no, she was the asshole the whole time. I didn't care what happened to her.
Yeah, I think that everyone in this series is an asshole. Name one person that you want to be friends with.
The Fox. Alan, how are you?
Good. I can't believe you missed the Fox.
I know, me neither.
The Fox makes its appearance the first time that they hang out outside of the church. Like she goes there, they hang out alone, and it's like really tense and
Maybe
weird.
I think British people just have foxes around them sometimes.
And,
I don't know.
it's really weird.
You tell me all about snakes and wolves and shit.
I am not British. I don't know if you know that.
I know, but another
all
country,
Canadian,
other
same
things
thing.
happen. Right.
Right, I mean, I guess we're still under the Queen, but
Here's
there's
the
like
Queen.
this.
I'm giving
Thank
her
you
the Queen of
thank
Hearts
you
right
so
now,
much. Much respect.
Yeah, it's weird, right? That we both watch TV. It's weird that Netflix counts us both as viewers or whatever it was on.
Because it's like this weird tension, like they're gonna hook up, and then he starts freaking out. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
He's
of
freaking
course.
out, and then he's like, "Is that a fox?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Foxes have been following me my whole life. There's this whole long story
I'm rewatching the
about
whole
how
series.
foxes follow him around, and at the end, she's not walking away. He walks away.
Let's face it, they both have accents.
Fair point. That's a fair
Is
point.
this racist? I don't even know. I don't even know.
Racist against the British?
Yes.
You could do that.
Against the Queen, but then he's leaving, and it's understood that like they can't be together because he's obviously a priest and has problems.
Yeah,
and
he's
blah,
so
blah, blah.
obviously a priest.
Sure.
That's what is obvious about him.
He's such a dog. But
He's a dickhead.
I love him.
He's not talking to God at all.
I love everyone in the show, and also Fleabag is the character on TV that I've related with the most. Out of
yeah,
any
I knew
TV
you would love
character.
it. Here's the thing. I hate her, but I love her.
She's fun.
She's the best.
She's horrible, but she's fun. I'm not as horrible as she is, but she kind of just does whatever she wants and knows she'll get away with it, and I can relate very much to
Yeah,
that.
and I also think that she recently was damaged and is not dealing with it, and this would be how a shithead would respond to it.
Yeah. But he's walking away. It's clear like they can't be together. And then a fox goes across in front of her, looks at her.
I hated that final scene.
Like looks at her like a fox would look at a person, and she goes, "He's that way." You don't remember this?
I didn't. I really was like, why
It's
are
like
we
the
doing
last moment of the series.
this? I did not care
It is
for
the
it.
pinnacle moment of the series.
Ah.
She talks to a fox. I don't even know.
What a great way to live. I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
you know what? Good for you.
You're
Thank
not going
you.
to remind her now. If she doesn't remember by now, she's not going to remember.
I remember something. I think I just dismissed it.
Yeah, the accents.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Were you
I hear
doing
you.
a keg stand with weed when you watched this show? How did you miss the talking, the almost
I
human-like
don't
foxes?
know. I did also take into account that there was a lot of drunk shit. So when I thought
Were
maybe
you drunk when you watched this?
I'm drinking mojitos, but I swear they didn't have any alcohol in them. But I think I just thought like he's just drunk or she's just drunk. I don't know. I was just dismissive of that stuff.
The main love interest
Yep.
has a monologue about how he's followed around by foxes, and that you didn't.
I fall asleep for a minute.
A minute? How did you understand Inception?
I described it perfectly, so you know I got it.
Who was in it? Okay.
DiCaprio and some other people.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you know Inception? There's actually a wolf that follows Leonardo DiCaprio
That's
around.
who's actually sleeping, and we're on the wolf stream.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Alan. We only got 2 done here.
What can you do? Thank you.
But she's such a good writer, except for the wolf thing.
The wolf thing.
So, outstanding comedy series: Barry, Fleabag, The Good Place.
I really like The Good Place, and I also think they stretched it as long as you could, because once you find out what's actually happening, it's like, how much further can you go with this?
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel,
I'm very embarrassed to say I haven't watched that yet.
Russian Doll,
I have a different opinion than other people on this.
which
You're
is
entitled to your opinion.
I really, really liked it, but I thought I liked the repeating aspect of it. I loved the main character, but where they went with it was so fucking cheesy.
I know, no fox. Made me so mad. I'm like, this show doesn't even have any foxes.
Yeah, the ending, the thing that they thought was so deep about it, I thought was a pretty shallow depth.
Schitt's Creek. The guy's name, I guess, is Johnny Shitts.
Oh, anytime it's
S-C-H-I-T-T.
that, you're just inserting a joke into the title that's not a joke.
Veep.
Wow, I stopped watching that.
Is that still on?
I guess so.
I guess so. It was nominated for an Emmy.
You think they made a
Stupid
mistake?
Yeah. They're like, oh, that's from last year.
It's
Just
such
throw
a-
it in. So good.
It's such a good show, but I really, after Trump was elected, I was trying to keep up with like actual politics.
Right.
That got boring. And then I also, things got so fucked up that I was like, I don't want to watch anything political.
Yeah, I was finishing The West Wing finally, and Trump is in office, and so they would make some kind of faux pas in The West Wing, and they're like, "We got to scramble, we got to fix this." It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about anything? You didn't mean it. You called journalism stupid. All right, so what?
Yeah, whatever.
Who
Just
cares?
send another tweet from the toilet.
Outstanding drama series: Better Call Saul, Bodyguard, Game of Thrones, Killing Eve, Ozark, Pose.
Oh my God, I haven't heard
Succession.
of half of this.
This Is Us. I think that's every show, right?
What is this under?
Drama.
Outstanding drama. Yeah, I've never heard of most of those.
Keith, have you watched it?
I saw, of course, Game of Thrones. That'll probably win because it was the end of it.
And everybody loves it.
Yeah. And everybody loves it in general, even though we
Yeah.
complained about the end.
I never saw one episode of that show.
How you holding up?
I'm fine. I mean, life is good without it, Like, I haven't gone to the movies or watched any of this crap. I'm good.
You can look up actress and actor on your own if you want. Outstanding reality competition: The Amazing Race, American Ninja Warrior, RuPaul's Drag Race, Top Chef, The Voice.
So Ninja Warrior is so good, but I don't think it's going to win.
No, I mean, when drag queens compete, we all win.
Yeah, that's such a popular show, but what was the last one?
The Voice.
The Voice has Middle America.
I'm going RuPaul. Everybody loves RuPaul.
Everyone does love RuPaul, but
How
I
can
don't
you
know
not?
that that's going to win an
It's
Emmy.
the 50th anniversary of Stonewall.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
What are you, an asshole,
They're-
Henda?
Yeah, what?
I'm not voting.
You're against. Are you against T or Q? Which is it?
What letter's pissing you off? Just say it. Questioning, they don't seem so sure.
Yeah.
Outstanding variety talk series: The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Late Late Show with James Corden, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Before you say Henda, keep in mind we have many friends that work on all these shows.
Okay, because it's only one show in there that I don't want to win.
Okay.
Okay. And I think based on the history of Hemda, we know which one, and I don't have to say.
Yeah, you
But
hate British people, so John Oliver. We got that from the last thing.
John Oliver helps me understand things, so it's not going to be that.
Okay.
All I could say is be a VIP member and subscribe to Last Week on Keith and the Girl.
Outstanding limited series: Chernobyl. I love that.
That made a splash.
Well, it made a splash. Escape from Dannemora. I love that too. That was the Shawskank, they called her, the woman that that fucked two guys and let them out of prison. True story.
So wait, it was the what is this documentary? What is this?
These are all biopics, but
Okay.
yeah, it's the Ben Stiller produced the story of the two guys leaving.
That
leaving
sounded
jail.
interesting.
So it was a prison guard, right? She was a prison guard. And
She more watched over the sewing area.
Okay, so she was in charge of the sewing area.
Yeah, she was a civilian.
Right. And she had access to the prisoners.
Yes.
And she gave those prisoners
Tools.
access to herself
Access to herself and access to tools to escape.
to escape. Wow.
And she was married, right? And I think
Yeah.
the guy was a guard also.
The
or-
guy was an actual guard. Yeah.
I would watch that. That sounds interesting.
It was very good. And what I like about these shows is when they're like 6 episodes.
Right.
Like even Fleabag, I didn't even care for the first season, but the second season was so short also. I'm like, okay, and that ended up being so much funnier, I thought. But you get me when it's 6 episodes. When every series is 13 episodes, I'm like, what a coincidence. Another story that took 13 hours to tell.
Go figure.
Fuck you, Jessica Jones. Outstanding limited series continued to Fosse/Verdon. So I guess that's on Bob Fosse, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Sharp Object and When They See Us. When They See Us. I haven't seen that yet. That's the Central Park 5 Netflix series.
That's hard to watch.
Outstanding, let's see, supporting actor, you can look at yourself. Actress, you can look at yourself. Let's see what else we got here.
Anything else that I watched? Because that would be fun.
I mean, to be fair, they can look at all this themselves.
I like Keith reading the news to me, though.
No, it's good.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Outstanding variety.
It's like a Muppets reading. it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
it's good.
Outstanding variety sketch series: At Home with Amy Sedaris, Documentary Now, Drunk History, I Love You America with Sarah Silverman,
That's really good.
Saturday Night Live, Who is America? Oh, Who is America with Sacha Baron Cohen, no question.
But will he win? It seems more indie, even though it's not. You know what I mean?
Well, you
And
know,
we haven't-
liberal Hollywood. They'll love him. They'll love him. Outstanding host for a reality or competition program, Ellen DeGeneres for Ellen's Game of Games.
What? What is that?
It's a game. It's a game show, and you know, you just like get the answer right. Oh, you got it wrong. I put goo in your face.
Deal or no deal kind of thing, I think.
This is separate from the Ellen DeGeneres show?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Amy.
She's so busy.
L. L.
Mhm. Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman in Making It. RuPaul's Drag Race. Mary Kondo in Tidying Up with Mary Kondo. She's the one that says you have to. I want to throw out these cards, this deck of cards. Well, I thank you, cards, for your service.
Yeah, they don't give you joy.
He really ripped that.
Keith ripped up the deck of cards.
Well, they're devil cards now. I don't like that you guessed what I had.
Yeah, that's true. I did. But
I
you
think
know,
for that one, the Drag Race will win.
yeah, I think Race will win everything it can win.
And also James Corden, The World's Best. So he has another show too.
RuPaul's Drag Race has not won a bunch of awards, even though a lot of people watch it. They don't really give it the kind of credit that they give your average show, I don't think.
But I think it's time now, you know, with the anniversary, like World Pride. I really feel like
Did you hear that, Emmys?
these things
Clayton's
are always
ready.
These things are always political. You know,
Sure.
like they never actually pick the one that's really the best. You know, they pick the one that like, oh, we should have picked this one last year, so we give it to him this time. You know, like we gave Scorsese an Oscar for like probably his worst movie, in my opinion. It's just like we never gave him one before, so
Which one
it's
was
his
that?
turn. The Departed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That was really good.
you liked it, but I don't know.
Not enough poker in it, right?
A little too long for me. Not enough foxes.
Right.
I just wasn't that into it. Too many Irish people.
If you want to follow Clayton online, Clayton Comic on Twitter and Instagram at Clayton Comic. And the website is ClaytonFletcher.com. And he hosts a podcast, The Tournament Poker Edge.
It's true. We talk poker. I meet with other professional players. We talk about what's going on in the poker world. We discuss hands.
It's a whole different language.
Oh, yeah. But you can actually get better at the game from listening. So it's pretty cool. Also, you can see me on CBS All Access on the World Series of Poker broadcast. I did some commentary for them, and they also televised a few of the tournaments that I played in. So you can watch me losing money.
Well, sometimes I'll see these tournaments, and they really do attack each other sometimes. Like, keep playing like that, I'll take your money, you asshole. Does that ever get under your skin?
Well, no. I mean, again, it just kind of treat it like a heckler. Like
Right.
if I know that you're getting emotional about the game, as long as I'm not, I have an edge over you. So I love it when my opponents get upset and start talking trash to me because I know that they're getting upset. And
Is there something you do to calm yourself down? Like, do you ever pinch your leg or anything like this?
no,
Is that
but
what calms you down, Keith?
no, I know people that do pinching, or they'll wear like a rubber band around the wrist and they'll just snap it to kind of like put themselves back into zone
zone.
1 or whatever. But I believe
Zone 1? How many
yeah.
zones are there?
Well, zone 1 is the one where you're supposed to be just like really thinking clearly and not worrying about what happened before or what's going to happen next, but just really focusing on the
Live in
here
the
and now.
now.
Yeah, that's really what poker's about. I mean, it doesn't matter
Isn't that
what
what life's about? What
It
a
is.
metaphor. What a fox.
so many of our expressions that we use all the time come from poker, and that's for a reason because the game itself is a metaphor for life.
Like we say, fuck you, that comes from
right,
the
that
tables.
comes from poker, and the chips were down.
Right.
Right. Screw
No
yourself.
one to fold them.
Buddy, it's very nice meeting you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I've been a fan of you guys since the beginning, and it's always been a dream of mine to appear on the show. So thank you very much for inviting me.
I really want to invite you to our home game, but you will never be invited.
What if I play with my eyes closed?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we all wear shades.
By the way, if you check your shoe, ace of spades.
Wait, could we just one more time just please give out the cards? And do you already know a little bit about us?
Yeah, I do, but this is kind of a free roll for you because
Yeah.
if I'm right, it's like, well, of course the pro is right, but if I'm wrong, it's like, see, he's a freaking fraud.
Let's not make it negative.
Okay,
Keith,
let's
how
not
much
make
are
it
you
negative.
betting? You're going first.
All in.
All in.
All in, my friend.
All
All right, but Keith, if you lose, you have to give $10.
I'm going to, okay.
All in?
I'll bet 10 real dollars.
I will go for your 10 real dollars.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm definitely going to fold. I think you both actually have decent hands. I would say he's got something like ace, king, and you have something like pocket nines.
Okay, can I say Keith?
Ace, king, I'm right about Keith. I was right about Keith, but what do you have?
I
A pair?
have a 6 and 7 diamonds.
Oh, okay.
I was just being a little shit.
See, I can read him, but not her. That's the same as it was at the beginning of the show.
How did you do that? What was telling about him?
I don't know. He just seemed excited, and I just felt like that was the most likely hand that would get him excited.
But he's just a Muppet. Of course he's excited.
No, I think we learned I'm honest, pure,
you are pure of heart, pure
and
of
that
spirit.
you can't trust.
Yeah.
Was
That's
there
right.
was there a fox in the fucking? All right, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for spreading the word. It lets us do more, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.